Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness, down the river of tranquility, to fill the lake of life with love.
Good evening, our fellow lovies out there, and welcome to this episode of Late Night Love as we dive into the complexities of relationships, parenting, and the work-life balance. We'll start with navigating trust issues in marriage to dealing with the unexpected requests from partners and the real-life dilemmas and offer some heartfelt advice. We'll also discuss the challenges of parenting and including the supporting a child who has come out as trans and handling the emotional roller coaster of missing your kids. On the work front, we'll tackle questions from workplace dynamics, job satisfaction. God, this is going to be one of those shows. Job satisfactions and finding the right balance between your career aspirations and financial stability. Join us for an engaging and insightful conversation that will touch on the many facets of love and life. And yeah, so it's got an interesting. Oh, Kitty's in here tonight. Say hi. Behave yourself tonight, Kitty, and you can stay for a little while. He was sleeping over in the corner all afternoon, and now he's up. So it is July 4th as we're recording this. No, you can't play around. You can hang out, but you can't play around. Sorry. It's July 4th as we record this. It's a warm Sacramento evening, as it tends to be in July.
I am going to be gone on Saturday, and I am going to Oregon to visit my oldest granddaughter, and we are traveling on tomorrow, which is my 35 years without alcohol.
And so that's an achievement and an accomplishment for anybody who has dealt with alcoholism. You know, it's getting to year 35 is an accomplishment. Getting to to day 35 is an accomplishment.
It's I used to hear people say, "I only have today," and I didn't get it. Mm-hmm. But now I get it. I only have today. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not here yet. I got today.
We got today to get through.
And today I'm not going to drink. Maybe tomorrow. Don't know what's going to happen, but not today.
Yeah, today.
Yeah.
And that's how you get to day 35.
That's how you get to day 35. And year 35, just one day after another.
Yeah. It just does it become easier? Let me ask you this after.
Well.
Or is it?
I don't after. Physically, yes, because the cravings are down to like nothing. I rarely get what I call the thirsties. You know, I want to taste a drink. Mm-hmm. Rare, very rare. But I occasionally, the idea will just shoot through my head. You know, you haven't drank for a really long time. You could have just one drink now. And that used to really scare me because I was afraid of going back to that life of I was in a lot of emotional pain. And that's what I remember. Yeah. I just hurt all the time. And I don't hurt anymore. You know? Yeah. I mean, life happens and occasionally I get hurt, but I don't walk around with this gaping hole in my chest anymore, you know. That's what it felt like. And but now, as you can tell, when I get the idea of just one drink, I laugh because I would like to say I came to Alcoholics Anonymous and I did it, and I did just, you know, right up from my first meeting I got sober, but I didn't. It took me a year and a half. I would get a couple of months together, and then I would think, I can have one drink. And I'd try, and I would end up drunk. And I did this for a year and a half. So I have done the research. I know.
Yeah.
I cannot have. Just wondering.
Yeah, because once you start it, yeah.
Then the craving sets in, and one is too many, and 1,000 is not enough.
Yeah, that's how that goes. And that just sadly destroys lives and families and harms communities. So we support anybody who can manage to become their better self, shall we say, in any shape, manner, or form. And so that's what we like to strive for here, is for you to become your better selves, for all of us to find those better selves and start working towards it. You're not going to get there because as you go along the path to your better selves, your idea of your better self continually evolves.
It does.
And so what you thought was your better self when you started the journey is a vastly different thing than when you're during your journey, because your view on what's better for you has changed. And that's perfectly fine. It's personal growth. You don't want to reach the end of that, because then what?
Hey, I'm still having plans. I'm making plans for when I go into a retirement home.
Retirement home.
Yeah. I'm gonna be the bingo lady.
Oh, okay. There we go. I can't even think about that far ahead. I'm still surprised I'm alive. And on that pleasant note, we want to remind you that we're on KUBU 96.5 FM, and where you can be you, and you can find us on the KUBU 96.5 FM app, by the way. All right. And I did find out what I had as scheduled besides Monday at midnight.
What?
I don't remember.
Oh.
I looked it up specifically so I would know.
And you forgot.
And I forgot, because you know what I didn't do?
What?
I didn't write it. I could look it up. I could literally pull up right now on my phone and pull up the schedule and tell us what we are on. But I don't feel like doing it. I think it's like 2 a.m. on Wednesdays or something. All right. But it's night. It's the middle of the night, right? We don't have of course we're gonna go on in the middle of the night. We're not gonna go on in the daytime. All right.
Well, late night love.
Yeah, so let's start with our relationship questions. Man, we should really swap some of these out of the orders. Okay, let's start with the relationships tonight.
Okay, am I in the wrong for telling my girlfriend to limit touching other men? Okay, they're 18 and they hang out with friends a lot, and she's constantly touching and rubbing their arm or putting her hand on their leg, rub their leg, hugs, long hugs. You know, they're 18.
Yeah, and she could be the touchy-feely type. My guess is he's probably just going to have to get over his instinctive jealousy. You're 18. You still have a childish version of, what relationships are and are not at 18. So, but it also kind of depends. Is it just kind of friendly touching that's annoying, or is she flirting with people in a not so subtle way? We can't judge. So it really depends on specifics, because it's vastly different. There's people who are just touchy.
No, their whole crowd is touchy.
Oh, well, then you're just going to have to get
but he doesn't like it.
Well, he's just going to have to get over his instinctive jealousy. That's all that is at 18. It's all that is. You've got his goofy version of what relationships are, because you don't know any better yet, right? You're 18. How do you know any better yet? So yeah, if it's a cultural thing, he's going to have to accept it. If she's overly flirtatious, then that's a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's no set answer, interpretations. And then maybe there's a middle ground that you can find, right? She's still going to do it. Hey, you can still give people hugs and pat them on the back or whatnot, but stop grabbing people on the leg. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think the leg that's something I avoid. Being attached.
Yeah.
I don't go touching other men's legs. Now I touch their arm.
Yeah, there's differences, and it depends on the relationship between the people.
If I'm related to them, I will touch their chest.
So it really kind of depends on relationships and whatnot. And at 18, he's just not sophisticated enough to know the difference yet. And so rather than, learning the difference, or which you can only learn by experience, he's reacting with a bit of maturity. but immaturity. But I grant him credit for asking before he goes and rolls off the hill. So
he's thinking. He's thinking.
So he's contemplating it.
So
we grant him credit for he's ahead of most people by at least contemplating.
He is.
So
very good.
So I'll give you some credit for that.
There you go.
All
right. My birthday is tomorrow, and my husband ripped up all my cards. Should I divorce him? They had a big fight.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it doesn't just going to go, I'm just going to rip up cards today. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's probably people out there, some controlling, whatnot that's out there. It wouldn't surprise me if there is a person or three out there that does that kind of thing. But generically speaking, those kind of things, you get in an argument. She said some things that hurt him emotionally, and so he did the one thing he knew. He
lashed out.
That's what happens when you don't have rules for, discussions that get out of control. We have a rule. When discussions get out of control, either one of us is allowed to say, no, we're going to come back to this later.
Time out.
Yeah, we're coming back to this later. We're going to go calm down. We're going to go regather perspective, whatever.
Yes.
And so that's our rule. Either one of us can do that. And now we can do that because we both know we will come back to the conversation. Well, at least check in.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we'll come back in and we'll both go, no, it's fine. We're stupid. Sorry. There's no reason to discuss this. I don't want to go back to it, frankly, because we're just stupid.
It was a stupid argument to begin with.
Yeah. This was a stupid conversation to begin with. So now I don't want to have it again.
And sometimes it's still an issue, but we work through it. Or sometimes we reach an impasse and it's like, okay, this one's going to have to go up on the shelf. And we'll come back to it again some other time.
Yeah, and we come back to those regularly. There's only 2 or 3.
We have 2 or 3 we take down off the shelf every 6 months or so.
Yeah, and so we know we're not forgetting it. No one's taking advantage of anybody. It's, sometimes the circumstances haven't changed or circumstances have changed, but realities haven't. There's all kinds of reasons, right? Things can or can't get dealt with. And sometimes it's just, this is just one of those things. It's not going to get dealt with. We look down at it. Is this important enough for us to deal with yet? Nope. Leave it up there. In the grand scheme of things, that is not important. Yes, it's an issue. We're not going to ignore that it's an issue.
It's an issue.
It's just not important enough.
Not right now.
No, there's no reason for that. So it's okay to do these things. My guess is you guys have to learn how to disagree better. Unless your marriage is on its last rocks anyway, which kind of sounds like it. If that's where her go-to thing is, rather than how do I go back and learn how to have disagreements effectively. So my suggestion would be to don't escalate the conflict, just de-escalate the conflict and try to resolve the actual issue, not whatever is not, don't deal with the hurt first. Deal with the issue first, and then once you've dealt with the issue, then you can go and deal with the hurt. Unless your issue is past hurt, and then that's just a big ball of mess. And that's why she's, should you divorce him?
Some counseling. Got to try counseling first. Make him, give him a chance to explain himself. Maybe even by that time he's ready to apologize.
Well, maybe she went across the line, and so maybe they both need some apologizing to do. Is my guess. These things are never not never. These things are rarely, where one person is clearly in the wrong. It's these things escalations.
Yeah, that's true.
And so my guess is they both have some soul searching to do. Neither one is, currently attempting to be their best selves. And so go back to the top of the show. Work on being your best self. Is this the response of your best self? And if it's not, then you figure out what the response of your best self is. And maybe the response of your best self is it's time for a divorce because for whatever reason, sometimes you can love somebody and it's not enough. You're just terrible together, right? You're just bad for it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, you're just bad for each other. It's got nothing to do with love. You as a human beings, it's like oil and water, right? You just can't mix. And so it is what it is. So yeah, I don't know. Little soul searching on your spot is to start with, because see what you've done and see where you want to go. Yeah. Sadly. Okay.
Boyfriend asking me to play housewife and also pay half the rent.
What? Yeah.
Okay, now they both work.
Uh-huh.
She makes significantly less.
Okay.
She does all the housework,
Mm-hmm.
all the cooking,
Mm-hmm.
grocery shopping, laundry. She does everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. If you want the housewife person, then you have to accept that you're going to be responsible for the economic upkeep of the family. And her job gets to be for things like vacations, the extras and the specials and the luxuries. Right? That's traditionally how those traditional relationships go. And if you want that, that's fine, but you have to accept the responsibility for it. He now has to be responsible for the electricity, probably the food, the rent, insurance, and those kind of things.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how those relationships work. You don't get to have both. You either get the responsibility, the financial responsibility, and you have the person who takes care of the house, or you share all of it, or some balances in between. But you don't get to say, hey, be the housewife and be the modern shared relationship. That doesn't work. That's an unfair balance. So no, if he wants a housewife, he gets to be the traditional husband and take care of the financial side, and she takes care of the house side. That's perfectly reasonable, traditional relationship. There's nothing wrong with it. But you don't get both.
Not both. Sorry. Doesn't work that way.
It's just like if you're the wife, if you don't want to work and you want to stay at home and you want your husband to take care of all the financials, you have to take care of the house. Right? That's the bargain. You don't get to sit on the couch eating bonbons. Hey, remember Peggy Bundy? Her house is at least always clean.
Well, yeah.
Right? They may not have had food. She may not have been shopping, but her house is always clean. All I'm saying is you have to do both of you have, if you want those kind of roles, whatever breakup, how you want roles defined or not defined in your relationship is fine. You just have to have equal, give and get. You can't have one responsible for the financials, one responsible for the house, and half the financials. That's not how it works.
What about if he tried for a month to equally share in the responsibilities and see if she pay half the rent?
Well, they're 30.
And see if it's something that he...
No, they're 30s. They know what this is. They all know what this is. It's just, he just needs to have reality painted. If he wants a housewife and she's willing to do it, that's fine. But that comes with a cost. And that cost is he's now responsible for the vast majority of that's just how it is. She's responsible for the house. He's responsible for the economics. And hey, it can be the other way around. If she had made more money and he wanted, I did be the same thing, right? She's responsible for the economics and he's responsible for making sure the house is taken care of. That's how it works, right? It doesn't, the genders are not relevant. The roles are what's relevant.
Yes.
Okay.
My girlfriend wants to break up with me because I don't have a car. What should I do?
You accept the reality that she doesn't want to break up with you. She's using the car as an excuse because she doesn't want to tell you the truth. And so she'll use the car because she thinks that it's in the warped mind of a 20-year-old. She thinks looks better on her rather than saying the relationship doesn't work for me. And we just time to move on. She, for whatever reason, feels she needs an excuse. And so the excuse is you don't have a car. You can't take me here, do those things, which are all superficial. Because if you love somebody, you walk. You don't care. So, yeah, she just has, the relationship has run its course and she's using the car as an excuse. So I'm sorry to be the one to break it.
Yeah, 20. Yeah.
20 and 25, right? She's 20, he's 25. And yeah, the relationship has run its course.
Yeah, sorry, hon.
Yeah, and that's just the excuse. So the easiest thing to do is accept it with class and move on.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the ones you don't fight, don't chase. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time, energy, or emotional exhaustion. Okay.
Okay, my fiance of 3 years asked if I can be in a polyamorous relationship with his newly found love interest, and I rejected because I was monogamous. So we broke up. Was I in the wrong for not trying it out?
No, you get to define what you want in and out of relationships. They're both in their mid-20s. If that's not your thing and you don't want that in your relationship, then you are well within your rights, for not trying it out and go and find someone who's more suited to your long-term perspective, right? These are the things that happen in relationships. Suppose you should be happy that he brought it up that way rather than was cheating on you. And
Yeah,
I suppose
he was honest.
Yeah, a bit of credit there.
Yeah,
but not much. I'll give you a bit of credit, but not much on that one. But no, you did the right. You're not interested in that thing, so no. In terms of the right thing, you did the right thing.
Yeah,
because it's about you, what you want out of life, not what you should do. Because
to be fair,
or even just to keep a relationship going. If the relationship is going in a direction you don't have any interest in, then you don't need to keep that relationship going. It's the instinct to stay in a relationship because having to go out and find another one is such a terrible experience. I get it. Or you sunk 3 years, 5 years, however long this
3 years.
Well, the 3 years is a fiance.
Oh.
So who knows how long they were dating.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so, you get the sunken cost fallacy. Well, I put in all this time. Yes, but how much time are you going to waste?
Yeah.
Right? That was just time as you were discovering who you were, who yourself, getting experience. And now all of a sudden, okay, now I'm not going. Now the time forward would have been a waste. That wasn't a waste. That was just life experience. Any time forward where you're not going in the direction you want to go is a waste. So you did the right thing for you. Plain and simple. Okay.
My boyfriend is watching his ex-girlfriend's videos. She's a porn star now. And she doesn't think this is right. Are my feelings valid?
Oh, are they valid? Of course your feelings are valid. It is kind of crass for your current boyfriend to be watching. You kind of get it in a sense. But at the same time, if you're going to do that, you do it in a way that she's never going to find out. I don't know. Your feelings are completely valid. It's actually would be completely valid. And I would support you on asking him if you're going to do that. Be more discreet about it. Those are things I would, if I was his friend, I would strongly suggest to him to view his adult entertainment elsewhere, or to find adult entertainment elsewhere. It's not that he's necessarily pining for him. They're young enough where early sexual experiences get put on a pedestal where they don't belong. Right?
Yeah.
And so at this stage, doesn't have enough time and experience to put those in its proper perspective. And so he's not necessarily pining for her. He's pining for an experience that he was never going to get anyway. It's very impersonal. It's almost gross, but it's also very human. Now, should you have to put up with it? No, you should not. If I was his friend, I'd tell him to knock it off. And you have every right to tell him to be more discreet if he is going to do it, and tell him that it bothers you. Just tell him it's visceral. Tell him there's no logic to it. It just is. Emotions don't need logic, especially with that. It's an emotional reaction. It doesn't need logic. So, yeah, your feelings are completely valid. What you do with your feelings is the next step. And she doesn't seem like she wants to break up with him over this, that it's a deal ender. She's just hurt by it. Right? And so it seems like it can be worked through, but he's going to have to grow up a little bit. And we all, hey man, he's 26, but at 36 we still have to grow up. So you know what I'm saying? These are the things that we just happen in life where we have to grow up. So just time for him to grow up a little. All right, what's next?
I am struggling in my marriage with my wife. My wife feels like I'm untrustworthy, and I feel I am constantly under a microscope where she is looking for something to prove her lack of trust is justified. How can I build trust and escape this hell?
Okay, so this one might actually matter. He was 50 and she is 34. So that's a 16-year difference. Now the question is she putting past pain into her current relationship? And now you're walking on eggshells because of her past pain. Or did you get in your relationship already involved, and since you were, you just destroyed your previous relationship to get with her, she is of course now going to be looking for the same pattern behavior because it's hard to know.
Well, there's another one. Maybe she's projecting.
She could be projecting. That's always a possibility. She could be looking for an out, trying to find, and so now she's looking for an out. But my guess is I'm going to say 2/3 of the time, this is talking about past pain into this, bringing past pain into this relationship. She has been hurt in the past. And so she has, in her mind, has decided she's never going to be fooled again. And so she's constantly looking for the things. Of course, what she's not realized she's doing is she's creating the very environment that will create, that will cause someone to.
I hate those self-fulfilling prophecies. They just really stink.
Yeah. And so how do you build trust in this? You can't be the one to build trust. She's going to have to deal with past pain. If I am correct, you can't do it. The only thing you can do is you can sit her down and explain to her what this is going to cause. That if she can't put this into a proper perspective, she's going to cause the end of the relationship. Yeah. Say, I'm not going to cheat on you over it, but I will leave you over it. I won't cheat over you. I won't cheat on you over this, but I will leave you over this. And I'm, get to work on yourself. That's not an unreasonable conversation to have. Have it more pleasant than I did at the moment. All right. So we're going to go on to parenting question.
Okay. My kid came out as trans. What do I do?
Nothing, actually. There's nothing to do.
Be loving and supportive.
You do the same thing you would do if he said he wanted to be a puppeteer, right? You'd support him. You separate your child from the culture war going on at the moment, right? You can there's many realities kind of right now bashing about in the world, and the love you have for your child transcends all that. And so your job is to give your child the loving environment they need to work themselves to whatever reality that they are going to have, because we don't know, right? At 18, it could be a completely. This is one of these problems. I have known people, and I have a personal experience with people all along this spectrum. People who have transitioned and have it saved their lives. I have known people who have transitioned and it's destroyed their lives. And so I have seen I've experienced the gamut of these things. And the only thing a parent can do is to be emotionally supportive. That's really it.
That's all that's required. Yeah.
Because the rest of it will work itself out one way or another. Mm-hmm. If your child is talking about going through gender affirming care, if they take it slow and the long difficult process, it is highly successful. If you short circuit it and jump to kind of the middles of the end of the treatment, it is disastrous. So my suggestion is take your time, do it right, and be emotionally supportive.
Yeah.
because what happens is when they take the long, slow road, they go through a lot of treatment, and what happens is those kids who shouldn't be fully transitioned, they find comfort in themselves. They find out who they really are, and they don't need the transition anymore. And those ones who are left at the end of that are the ones who are going to have a successful transition because that's what they really genuinely need. And so society has, for a long time, we jumped the gun. For a long time, we ignored it. Then we jumped the gun. We started using the gender affirming treatment on essentially everybody who wanted it, right?
Yeah.
Without having them go through the long, difficult process.
Yeah.
But the success was the long, difficult process. That's where the success at the end of the gender affirming care came from, was the long, difficult process. And when we skipped that, we damaged a lot of people. So this is one of those cases where it's all true, right? All of it's true. And you as a parent, your job is to support your child through this long, difficult process as they figure out what is the path that works for them.
Yes.
So your job is to love them and support them as best you can. And you don't need to understand it. You don't. You can't wrap your head around it. You don't need to. You just don't need to. Just make sure you have the support, the psychological support that they need as they work through this. Yeah, because it's a
counseling.
Even at its most successful, it's still a long, difficult trip. So they need your support for that. Okay.
Why are girls' clothes like that? Is she even sexy?
Well, this is the conversation that has been going on since the beginning of time, right? It is what it is. I mean, are they any more revealing than the bikinis they were wearing in the 60s? Really? And a little more flair, some spandexy materials and whatnot. But realistically, they're not showing any less or any more, than they were in the itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikinis. You were only big enough for 3 dots. Yeah. So why are girls' clothes like that? Because young ladies like to attract attention. And that's how young ladies attract attention. In the simplest terms. It's a human.
Yeah.
It's a human thing. It's not even, it's what they, and young boys like to attract attention too. They just do it by doing stupid stuff. Is generally what happens. Okay.
Is it normal to miss your kids this much? I dropped my little one off at daycare and I'm already counting down the minutes till I can pick them up.
Some mothers do. Some mothers find that time at daycare relief. Others find it torturous. So there's no wrong thing to feel. You just feel the way you feel. It's okay. You love to have spending time with your kids. It's great. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. You're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. Others can't wait to.
But is it normal? No, what's this normal?
Well, normal is a range, right? It's just as normal as for those who can't wait to drop their kids off at daycare.
It's just as normal. Yeah.
Yeah. You're both just as normal, right? Both those things can be true at the same time. It is perfectly normal. All right. So what do we have next?
Do you ever have days where your love feels almost overwhelming? Yes.
Well,
I have been enamored with my girls ever since they were born. And it was an overwhelming rush of emotion. And it's just never gone away.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm fascinated by them.
I suppose it means what it means by overwhelming. But yes, there are days where you're feeling more full of love or more filled with love from others than others. Yeah.
Remember those days.
Yeah.
You need them.
Yeah, they come for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we have next?
Wife setting up the kids for failure. How do I fix this? She's pushing them to be professional athletes.
Okay. Well, how does that setting them up for failure?
Because they're not going to be professional.
Well, A, how do you know?
Oh, okay.
And B, you learn the process of trying to become a professional athlete actually has its own lessons. You become highly disciplined, you can be organized. You learn how to, depending upon the sport, right, strategize and learn how to work as a team. There's all kinds of other things that can make you a success. Will they become a professional athlete? Maybe not. You can't know you'll never succeed if you don't try, for one, right? So you're going to have to try. But two, you teach a lot. You learn a lot about things that can make you successful later in life, right? All those skills that you learn is a way to become a better athlete, a better player, a better whatever it is you're doing. Those same principles apply to becoming a better accountant, a better husband, a better father, right?
Yes.
So you're learning transferable skills.
Okay.
And so now, if your concern is that your wife is over pushing them and going to cause burnout, that's a different thing. So if your only definition of success is becoming a professional athlete, well, you need to redefine success. Maybe the definition of success is, hey, they get a free ride through college. Now they can go be whatever they want to be without you having to pay a big college bill. So, or maybe they do. Maybe they get lucky and one does. Right? Yeah, sure. There's only 680 NFL players. There's 800 or something NBA players, right? But there's none if nobody tries. So anyway, I don't have a problem with your wife pushing your kids to be excellent at sports. I would have a problem with it if she's over pushing.
Okay.
So how's that?
Yeah. Last night, my 13-year-old cried about her weight.
Okay, now this is going to be a little crass. Is there a 13-year-old girl in the history of the world that hasn't cried about their weight?
I don't think I ever cried about it, but I worried. I was upset. I was a little chunky.
I think this is one of these things that just for whatever reason we deal with as a species. And right about that time, that's about the same time that men start worrying if their arms are big enough, they're strong enough. There's something about it. And you could argue, but back in the day, 13 was when you went off to be an adult. And so you're actually becoming the reason the reason we are instinctive at this is because that's when you had to go find a mate. So, is it relevant now in today's society? No, but for whatever reason, we still carry this trauma with us. We still carry this instinctive trauma from, generations upon generations upon generations back. And, so I don't know. The solution for this one is the same solution you have for every 13-year-old girl who's going through an emotional moment, even though it's not chocolate on this particular one. It's just you give her the love and support she needs. Just give her the time and attention she needs, and it will all be okay in the long run. Now, you will have many, many emotional nights over the next 10 years.
Yes, you will.
But
welcome to girls.
Yeah, but the solution is always the same. A little bit of a time, a little bit of attention. So mostly you just have to listen to some of this inane stuff that comes out their mouth and smile and say gesture. That's really that's terrible. Really? They did that? Yeah, you just have a stuck standard answers and just roll them out.
Is that what you do?
No, because my daughter was more of a boy. But that's what I did with Tiara. But no, not with Summer. Summer didn't have that problem. She had other problems. Yeah. Okay, what's next?
I found out that my 13-year-old daughter skips her classes.
Okay. you can't do that in the modern day. You're talking to the person who graduated high school with a less than 50% attendance rate. So I can hardly sit here and say skipping classes is the most disastrous thing on the planet. Because if you're not causing any problems, then you're not causing any problems. But at the same time, in the modern world, the fact that
Yeah, but you were still acing your classes.
I was not acing my classes.
You
I was
weren't?
passing my classes, most of them. I passed just enough. I had it all figured out down to the last credit. What are you talking about? I didn't pass any class I didn't need to pass. What are you talking? Are you kidding me? I did not pass any class. I did not get any grades higher than I needed to get. I did exactly what I needed to do and not an ounce more. I do not suggest that, children out there and the people in the thing. That is not
Education strategy.
That is not an endorsement of it. That is not a proper education strategy for anybody. It's just how I had to get through school. I remember this is back in the mid 80s. So, we'll put it in. So vastly different time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got to get out of it right before they started caring about truancy and all that stuff. Right after I left is when they started getting really picky about going to classes and stuff and whatnot. I kind of got lucky. You can't get away with it these days. My suggestion is to find out why she doesn't like school and then to deal with that. Is it bullies? She just doesn't like the environment? Is she bored? Whatever it is. There's a reason. There's an underlying reason.
Okay. Yeah.
Other than the class is stupid, which is the reason she's going to give you. The class, the teacher, whatever is stupid. No, there's an underlying reason. And you're just going to have to decipher and figure out what that is. And it could be that school is a completely wrong environment for her and you're going to have to figure something else out. That's not a unreasonable possibility. All right. So what's next?
Work.
Oh, yay. Work questions.
Can a manager ask me why I need a day off?
Well, they can ask and you can give them whatever answer you want. If you want to, you can give him the answer that he will most likely accept. You can tell him the truth, or you can say because you want it.
Personal.
Yeah.
I got personal stuff to do.
And it kind of depends. You know the kind of environment you're working for. You know what your boss will accept and what we don't. One of the hardest things for people to do is to take a day off to go have an interview, a job interview. They don't want to tell their current job that they're looking for a replacement. But oddly enough, if you do have a job that will say, yeah, sure, go take a day off so you can go have an interview, that's probably a place you don't want to leave because they treat you well. You just probably can't pay you well.
Hadn't thought of that.
Well, yeah, because they'll treat you right. The reason they treat you, one of the reasons they treat you right is it creates more loyalty than cash. Mm-hmm. And if you're a nonprofit or if you have a business in low margins or struggling, right? What can you compete against the people who can pay more? Culture. That's your advantage. You can pay, people will hang around with you because they want to be there. It's not a soul-sucking experience. When they need a day off, they can say, hey, boss, I need a day off. They go, sure, is your stuff covered? Yeah, I got it. All right, see you later. Right? Those are the places people like to stick around. Yeah, I can make 10 grand somewhere else, but I can't take a day off whenever I want somewhere else. And that's more important to me than the 10 grand a year. I can do some consulting, some side work to make up the difference, whatever it is, right? So I can take a day off and go take a side gig and so your manager can ask and you can give whatever answer you wish, depending upon the culture of the place you are employed by.
Okay.
How is that for a non-answer? Answer. All right.
Coworker thanks everyone by name except me.
Does he not know your name?
That's what your best bet is right there.
Yeah, for whatever reason, he doesn't remember your name, doesn't know your name, But don't worry so much about it. Or maybe he just doesn't like you and he's being
passive aggressive.
But don't worry about it. It's a coworker. It's not your brother, not your friend. It's a coworker.
Yeah.
It's a business relationship. It makes no difference. But if you do want to, you find some way to subtly drop your name in a conversation, so he'll know it next time and see what happens. Because he may not know. And then this happens to me. Everybody in my building knows them, all the city workers in my building. I don't work with them directly, but we work in the same building, and we see each other. They all know who I am. I don't know a single one of these people's names. How the heck do they all know who I am? I don't know a single one of these people. I see them every day. I don't know their names. Talk all the time. Don't have the slightest clue what their name is. On occasion, I'll pick one up. But I know the janitor's name, and I know the guy at night.
Night. Is he the security?
Well, he's not really security. He's just the guy who's there who locks the doors at night. They're not really security, but kind of. But the guy at night, I know those guys. But the other office worker people, I have no clue what their freaking names are. It's embarrassing. Okay, what's next?
I found out that my coworker makes far less than I do. How do I balance expectations given the difference?
You don't worry about it. You just do your job. You don't know why your coworker makes less than you do. Maybe your coworker needs a lot of other attention. Who knows? Just do your job. Don't worry about it. That's my suggestion, regardless of where that was just do your job.
Okay.
Now, if you're curious, you may want to kind of re-examine your coworker's duties and figure out what it is, how much they actually do, because maybe there is way out of balance for some reason and he's being taken advantage of, and you may want to, quietly mention it to him. Dude, you should ask for a raise. I mean, a big one. If you guys are doing roughly the same work and you have roughly the same responsibilities and you are as dependable, he may not be dependable, right? We don't know about the details. So if you guys are roughly the same type of employee, generally the same type of employee, then you may want to quietly mention to him that he should be asking for a raise. Now, there may be reasons he doesn't ask for a raise, because maybe he's a marginal employee and he dang well knows that if he asks for a raise, they're just going to let him go because you're not worth anymore. But for whatever reason, you're worth more. Maybe you're more dependable, you're more reliable, you get more done in a shorter period of time. They don't need to worry about you. Who knows? There's lots of reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it could be anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he's just pain to work with. And so, all right.
How do I stop being nonchalant? He gives nonchalant answers and it's not going over very well, and he doesn't know how to stop.
Okay, this one's actually easy. Remove it's when you're giving an answer, when you're talking to people, remove the qualifying words. Be more definitive. I think it's probably get rid of all those. It's probably fine becomes it's fine. It should be good. It's good. Just be more definitive.
Okay.
Because I'll guarantee you what's happening is he knows he's done the work right. He does it, but he's, for whatever reason, he's unsure of himself. Probably doesn't even realize he's unsure of himself, right? It's habit from some past childhood trauma for God knows, right? And always had to be careful of where you walking on eggshells like the person before. You're always afraid of making a mistake, and so you've carried that into an environment where they need you to be sure of what you're doing. They don't need this should be fine. He goes, no, I checked it. It's fine. Yeah, fine. Yeah, I've got my QA paper. Did you do your thing? I should have done it, but did you? Yeah, it should be good. No, but is it good? Did you do it? Yeah, I know mistakes can happen, but as far as you know, it's done, right? Right, mistakes happen. You think you've done something and you didn't, but we need to know that you've done it. And yeah, okay, maybe you do something 1,000 times, and that one time it's going to get screwed up, and there's nothing you can do about it because it's one of those things. Yeah, we know, but is it good? That's called good. As best we know, it's all done properly, right? Yeah, one of them failed somewhere. We know it's going to happen. There's a failure rate. We get it. You don't need to tell us. We know. You did everything by spec. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah. So yeah, just be more definitive. Stop the qualifying words.
Okay.
So shorten things.
Okay.
Stop making a 10-second answer into 30 seconds. Okay.
Which work-related attribute is the most valuable?
Dependability. No, not dependability. Can they rely on you to be there? Can rely on you to do your thing, which you said you were going to do reliably. Doesn't mean you have to be 100% perfect. It just means, are you dependable? Do they have to think about you? They've got a million other things to think about. They don't want to have to think about you. It's not that they don't care. It's that they got a million other things to think about, and they don't want you to be a problem. And if so, you are a solution, not a problem. That is the most valuable thing you can have to any employer or, quite frankly, person in your life. Be solutions, not a problem. Okay.
Okay. Job interview. Not heard back after a week. What should I expect?
Well, it depends what they told you. I mean, this is actually quite common nowadays, more than before. For some reason, despite all the automation, it takes them longer to get to a decision. Sometimes it's just because they have so many candidates to go through that it takes longer to go through them than they initially thought. And sometimes they may not get back to you because they're rude. At this stage, after a week, you send a note.
Yeah.
It's not unreasonable to send a quick note. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, just send a quick second thank you note, essentially.
There you go. Yeah.
And you never know. You still might be asking about it. Now you're on the top of their mind. If you're in the final three, you never know what sets you over the top. You got 3 candidates, all relatively equal, and you as an owner have to make a decision on what to do. So the person who's at the top of your brain. But that's timing, right? Good luck with that one. Okay, what's next?
At a crossroads. My dream job doesn't bring me money. He's very happy, but he's broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching a short vid from Pirates of Software the other day. So if you guys ever want to go look at some inspirational commentary, especially in the coding sector. But what he says on this is he says, yeah, that happens sometimes. He says, what you do is you have a day job for money and you chase your passion at night until it can pay the bills. And that's what he had done. He said that's what he had actually done. Now, it's for people like this, it's hard. It's hard to relate because they feel like they're so far different. I mean, he was one of these guys who was working cybersecurity for nuclear power plants. He was an offensive cybersecurity specialist. His job was to break into these places and find all the security holes. And he says he made a lot of money doing that, but he was miserable. So he went and got a job at a video game company and started coding video games. Made dirt money, but he paid the bills. And then he got a job at a different video game company and actually got treated like a real human being. He said he didn't even know how badly he was being treated until he went someplace else. And he was having trouble. He wasn't feeling productive at his new job. And so he went to his boss and said, I'm not feeling productive at his new job. Says, where'd you work at before? And he told him the company where he worked at before. He says, oh, Here, tell you what, take a few days off and understand that, and try to work on this. That's we don't have that type of pressures or deadlines here. You're not overworked. It's different. So apparently, at the other place, they were working massive overtime to try and get stuff done. And now he goes to a place that's actually well managed. Treats their people like human beings, and he couldn't cope. He wasn't feeling productive. He wasn't under constant pressure, constant deadline pressures. So, oh yeah, you're working on stuff. Yeah, go, cool, go. He couldn't take it. He's like, where's my pressures? Where's my deadline, dude? Go take some time off and de-stress, man. Go relax, dude. It'll be here when you get back. We're good. Huh? Yeah. And so eventually he went out and he started he's developing his own game. And so now he's taking off and he's developing his own game. And so again, it's you work for money, you work to eat, and you chase your passion. Or you accept that you're going to be a starving artist and you take some side gigs to cover the gaps.
Yeah.
Deliver Amazon packages or whatever. And, sometimes a happy life is worth more than money. And other times it's not. You're just going to have to make that decision. Sometimes maybe your dream job doesn't bring you more money now, but maybe in 10 years it will if you keep at it. And you're just going to have to find something to put the bills on, to put the food on the table until then. And it doesn't always get easier. I've got a wrist thing and bad fingers because I spent the last month working 16 hours a day between my job and my various other tasks due to an issue that had to be cleared up and dealt with. It happens sometimes. Yeah. There's a reason I was working until 3 a.m. all those days. Then get up at 9:30 and go back to work. Yeah. And my wrist finally said, too much mousing. You're taking a break. The body said, you're giving up. So, all right. So, yeah, it might be time to reconfigure either your perspective or your lifestyle. How's that one?
There you go.
All right. Intimacy questions.
Okay. What does it mean if I get turned on looking at my own stuff?
Nothing. Doesn't really mean anything. Generally, if you're looking at your own stuff and it's already in process, you're already excited. And so it's just a self-fulfilling thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really mean anything. Yeah.
Women look at their boobs.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? All right. So, yeah, it means nothing. It means you get turned on by looking at yourself. That's what that means. Okay. What's next?
Masturbate at work?
Not if you want to continue it. What is that guy? Jeffrey Toobin, the guy from CNN? He learned about that. Yeah, don't do that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he got caught on a Zoom meeting.
What?
Yep. He was on a Zoom meeting and thought his camera was off. Yeah. Don't do that.
How horrifying.
Yeah.
I'm going to be horrified by that for days.
Yeah, she doesn't pay attention to pop culture, so she's literally years behind on this one. But yeah, if you can't wait till you get home, quite frankly, you've got other problems to deal with.
I worked at places where guys go, yeah, I need to de-stress.
Yeah, you go home for that. There's a reason I went home.
They go in the bathroom.
There's a reason I went home for lunch. When I was, there's a reason I didn't like living any more than 10 minutes from home, 10, 15 minutes from home. I've always liked living close to home. There's benefits. And there's also a reason why I have lots of kids. Okay, what's next?
Cunnilingus-centric relationship? He's looking for one. This is what he wants.
Okay. I'm sure you could probably find someone who's on the opposite side of that coin. It's just not going to be it's not going to be an easy search. You're looking for a very specific needle in a very crowded haystack. And so, I mean, someone out there, I'm positive there is someone out there who will be the flip side of that coin. I have no doubt. Now whether you two will ever come across each other
is another question. Yeah.
So I suppose you would look for the places where you would go to look for someone else interested in that. The alternative.
There's got to be websites out there somewhere.
Yeah, the alternative type dating websites, I think, is where you would have to travel.
Okay.
I would suspect. I mean, it's my guess, and you're going to have to, think about long distance relationships or moving or kind of thing. Because it, unless you live in like LA or New York, and you're bound to find one or two. But if you're in a small town, relocation may be required.
Unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
But the more narrow your needs are, your requirements are, the smaller your pool of applicants will be. Okay.
I can only get an erection from my partner, not porn. He can't do porn.
Oh, is that distressing, or is it?
Yeah, because now he can't masturbate. He needs the material.
Well, do you have a partner?
Take pictures. Ask her.
Pictures aren't going to work. It's not, because at the moment he is emotionally enamored, and so my guess is it's a stage. It'll get past it.
Okay.
If I have to take a wild human guess, it's a stage that he'll get past.
All right.
Now, if he wants to, it's not necessarily a problem. Frankly, there's a lot of people who would be relieved of not having to worry about excitement at times other than when they want it. Just saying. Free floating boners are no fun. Okay. So what's next?
Is it safe to go from eating anal to cunnilingus? I don't know. That's a good question. Wouldn't that be one for a doctor?
Yeah, it's probably one to better ask a doctor, even though my guess is people do it every day. In terms of safe, you're talking percentages. Is your percentages for some type of infection to increase? Probably. Are the percentages high? Probably not. But the thing would be to go really on this one. This is one of these. Google can answer this question better than we can, and we could look up Google, but that's the only place we get the answer from. So I could Google it and give you the answer from the AI. So that's an AI question. How's that one? You're going to get a better answer from the AI than from us. But it's one of those things that is done every day. Mm-hmm. And how much trouble it causes, it can't cause that much because there hasn't been any massive public awareness campaign. But so, I would guess there is an increase in potential infections of some form. Mm-hmm. But the acids in your saliva probably take care of a chunk of it. It becomes a complicated mess down there anyway. So I don't know. And if you do proper hygiene afterwards, it's probably less of an art. So there's factors at play that can't make it a simple question.
Yeah.
So ask your doctor.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Okay. Last question. My wife loves to masturbate a certain way. Okay. And it's the only way that she can orgasm.
So she has a difficult combination. She has figured it out. And
he's trying to learn it, but she's not really open to.
Then let her take care of herself, and you just enjoy the rest of the thing. Don't worry about it. Because remember, orgasms aren't the goal unless they are.
I mean, and she's not complaining or anything, but he is. He wants to do it.
Yes, But the combination is her combination is either too difficult or she has become too accustomed to a certain routine and she now has trouble breaking out of that. That's a different issue. That's a sex therapist question. But not assuming that's the case, assuming that it's a difficult combination and not a habitual thing. Yeah, she gets frustrated because you're not gonna, right? What'll happen is she'll hit the peak, and it's like trying to orgasm on, what was it? There was a comedian, a female comedian the other day, and she said it's like trying to have an orgasm on cocaine. You get just to the, and you can never go over the other side. You get right to the top and then back down. So you can never get over the top. And so, again, I don't know if that's true or not, but
that sounds about right.
Yeah. And so that's the problem she's facing. And I get it. For her, it would be frustrating rather than exciting. So just enjoy the rest of it, and would be my suggestion.
She loves you.
Yeah. It's not about you. Think of it as her combination is tough to crack, and she's accepted it. And so should you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That is it for us tonight. So we want to thank you for coming. You can always find us at latenightLove.us. You can send your letters to love@latenightLove.us. And from me and Lovey, you can find us next week. Please remember, have a good evening, and please remember to love everybody and have a good night.
Good night.
Oh, buttons again. I thought I'd gotten past me and hitting wrong buttons.